Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. LaRusso.
Extreme situations require extreme measures.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cobra Karate. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today is a very special day. Because I'll be interviewing the one, the only, Mr. Sean Kanan. How you doing?
Hey brother, how are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for doing this. If you guys don't know who Sean Kanan is, he plays as Mike Barnes in Karate Kid Part 3, the main villain. He also starred in other TV shows like The Bold and the Beautiful, Studio City, and much, much more. We'll just be talking, talking about asking some questions about experiencing Karate Kid, talk about his book, Way of the Cobra. We might even talk a little bit about Cobra Kai and stuff like that. So, yeah, and real quick before I start, I'm a huge fan of you, huge fan of your character as Mike Barnes and just your work in general. So
thanks,
thank you so much.
Appreciate that. My pleasure.
All right. So are you ready to start with the questions?
See what you got.
All right. So I want to talk about the beginning. What got you into acting and how did your whole acting journey start?
So I grew up in a town called Newcastle, Pennsylvania. It was kind of a blue collar steel town in Western Pennsylvania. And when I was going to high school, a friend of mine asked me if I would go to an open call for a modeling agency with him in Pittsburgh. And so I said, sure, I'll go. My friend wanted to be a model, and they wound up asking me if I wanted to model, and unfortunately not him. And so I started doing some modeling in high school, and that eventually led to doing a television commercial, which got me my Screen Actors Guild card. And, about that time, I really started formulating the idea that I wanted to pursue a career in acting. That and the fact that I really loved movies. As a young kid, I experienced a lot of bullying. The movie theater was kind of like my oasis. It was my safe place. I would go in, I would watch films, and a lot of my earliest mentors were the stars of the films that I saw. Rocky Balboa, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the outlaw Josie Wales, and watching these individuals up on this 30-foot screen, something clicked in me, and so I eventually moved to Los Angeles to finish my college degree in political science at UCLA. And that was in 1987. And that's where I really started to pursue acting seriously. And, haven't looked back.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So let's talk about the Karate Kid. I'm curious, did you see the first two original Karate Kids before you went to audition for the Part 3?
Absolutely. I was a fan. I was a guy that, bought a ticket and, sat in the audience like everybody else and fell in love with the films.
Amazing. How was the whole auditioning process? The whole auditioning process for Karate Kid Part 3. Can you tell me what that was all about?
Yeah, I got the role from an open call. There were over 1,500 people that were standing in line. An open call means that anybody who wants to audition has a chance at doing it. And John Avildsen, who had directed Rocky, won the Academy Award, picked me out of the line, and eventually I got the role. I went in and auditioned, screen tested with Ralph Macchio. They did hire somebody else first, and then after about a week, they fired him and remembered me and brought me back.
That's awesome. So when you knew that you were going to be in Karate Kid Part 3, how did you feel?
It was an unbelievable feeling. I mean, it was almost kind of too big to take in all at once. I didn't really know what it meant because I couldn't have possibly known what the experience was going to bring, but I knew it was going to be big. I mean, the role of Mike Barnes, everybody in Hollywood knew that if you were a young guy auditioning for this role, that, this was the kind of role that would, change somebody's career. And so when I got it, I mean, I knew I was in for a ride. I didn't know what the ride was going to look like, but I, fastened my seatbelt.
That's awesome. What was it like your first day filming? What was the first day filming, and what was it like?
Well, here's the thing. You have to differentiate between my first day filming and my first day in the movie, because we probably had 3 weeks before we started filming of auditioning, learning the fight scenes, the choreography, training, all that sort of thing. So by the time we started filming, you know, it had been several weeks of being at the locations, on the sets, meeting the other actors. And then we had the first day. I honestly don't remember what the first day was, but I think part of me thinks it was the scene where Barnes comes to meet Terry Silver at his mansion.
Nice. So you worked along Ralph Macchio, Pat Miota, Thomasin Griffin, Martin Kove, all these brilliant actors, brilliant people. Did you learn anything from them as an actor or as a person, or did you learn anything from them?
Sure. Yeah. You know, I think you learn. I mean, hopefully in life, you learn from everyone that you're exposed to. I mean, I'm a firm believer that everyone in life is your teacher. You know, for me as a young guy that had just started acting, I had so much that I needed to learn. You know, Thomas, for instance, had already worked significantly on a soap opera, so he had lots of experience in front of the camera. Of course, Martin was already, you know, the star of the first two films. You know, I did my best to try and absorb as much as I could, as quickly as I could. I didn't really interact a whole lot with Ralph other than when we were filming, and I think that was a predetermined decision by the part of the producers, that they wanted to keep me and Ralph apart from forming any kind of real friendship, because they thought it would ultimately manifest in a more believable rivalry. And although it was frustrating for me and difficult, because, you know, I wanted to be this guy's friend. I had watched him in the first two films. I wanted to hang out with him. That's not what the role required. And I think the producers in their wisdom recognized this, and ultimately it helped me be more believable as the bad guy.
Wow, that's really interesting there. So what was your favorite scene filming? What was your favorite scene filming in Karate Kid Part 3?
You know, I'd have to say probably the All Valley tournament, because, you know, we had a couple hundred extras. There were, I think, 8 cameras running, and normally, you know, when you're filming, you have 1 or 2 cameras. With 8 cameras, you know that no matter what you do, it's going to get caught. They're not going to miss a thing. The set, which was inside a soundstage, looked exactly like the All Valley tournament looked like in, you know, when I went to go see the movie. And then here I am, I'm the guy now. You know what I mean? I'm out there on the mat. And so it was surreal and exciting. And, you know, this was the scene that, you know, we had rehearsed the choreography for these final fights, and it was all coming down to this moment. It was also one of my favorites because they really, when I say they, I mean the producers and director really gave me the freedom to do a lot of ad libbing. And so almost all of my dialogue in the final scene was my ad libbing. It wasn't scripted. You know, John Avildsen would give me some suggestions here and there, but the majority of it was ad libbed. You know, it's funny. A lot of people have commented now that a lot of the dialogue was very, you know, racially insensitive dialogue, and of course it was. And I remember John Avildsen came up and gave me a few of those in my ear. You know, when Mike Barnes says things like, you know, you're shit, your slope teacher's nothing. You know, I don't think I would have necessarily thought to have said that. But, you know, here's the thing. I mean, you know, that was the character. He was not a great guy. You know, Mike Barnes was a sociopath. And so there are times when I think in the course of literature and film, it's appropriate to have characters that are not politically correct. And so, you know, sometimes people come up to me and they say, well, what do you think about your character saying that? And I say, well, I think it's terrible. I would never say that, but I'm not the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So if I'm right, do you actually do real martial arts?
I do. Yeah. I've studied martial arts off and on for most of my life. You know, sometimes I've been more involved than others. Actually, today I'm about to go train with a friend of mine who's a black belt. And, you know, it's something that I love. It's been a part of my life, not just the physical aspect of it, but the spiritual and discipline aspect of martial arts is something that I think translates to a lot of other things that I do in life. And so it's something that I've always tried to keep in my life on some level or another.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. So you actually had, I heard that you had a life or death experience in your life. Do you want to tell me about that?
I did. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version because I've told this story so many times,
Yeah.
and you can certainly read about it in my book Way of the Cobra.
Mhm.
But long story short, I had Christmas Day 1989. I passed out at a casino in Las Vegas and was taken to the Humana Sunrise Hospital. I was bleeding to death. I had internal bleeding from a stunt that we did. Didn't have anything to do with karate. It had to do with falling on the ground. And I had been taking a lot of aspirin because I thought that I was having pain in my left thigh, which I thought was from all the karate. And, aspirin's a blood thinner and it exacerbated the bleeding. And they had to perform life-saving surgery on me. And I had to fight my way back into this world and back into the film.
Wow.
Pretty heavy.
Yeah. So let's begin to talk about your book, Way of the Cobra. So first off, I have to say, anyone who wants to buy this book, link in the description, buy it. Because I'm not a book reader, okay? But when I read this book, I literally read the whole book in a day. It was fantastic. I mean,
Wow.
it was a page turner. Let me tell you that. It was
Thank you.
amazing. You did amazing on that. Can you tell me what motivated you to make that book?
Yeah, I had been working on a self-help motivation book for a couple of years, and I started thinking to myself, I can put this book out under another title, and a couple people will read it, or I can tap into the fact that I'm a part of the Karate Kid universe, and there's this monstrous fan, a fan base for Karate Kid and for Cobra Kai. And it just seems like if I can tailor the book a little bit that way, I'm going to reach more people. And at the end of the day, that was my goal. My goal is to inspire as many people as possible, get this book in as many people's hands as possible. And so I started thinking about the idea of, what it is to be a sensei, to be a teacher. And so I constructed the book in the format that I'm a sensei. You're in my dojo, the dojo of Cobra life. Cobra is an acronym. It's formed from the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. The chapters are divided into belts. And, these are the strategies and the philosophy that I live my life by that have helped me make some monumental changes in my life and have helped me achieve some success in my life to overcome some pretty significant challenges. And I wanted to pass them on. The ability to pay it forward is foundational to the Way of the Cobra. And I'm just so happy that you liked it. I actually have been knee deep every day for the last probably 6 weeks working on the sequel. Sequel is going to be fantastic. It's going to be called Way of the Cobra. Welcome to the Kumite. And I'm really excited for people to get this book. My goal, and I usually reach my goals, is that I want this book to come out right around my birthday, which is in November. So, for sure before the new year, because I think people like to really set their intention for the coming year, in December. Everyone's got lots of good intentions, and sometimes they fall by the wayside. I think that reading the sequel to Way of the Cobra and Way of the Cobra is a great way to stack the deck in your favor towards achieving your goals and making some significant change in your life.
Yeah. I can't wait for Way of the Cobra too. It's gonna be awesome.
Thanks, brother.
So, yeah, make sure to check out the book and link description.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Cobra Kai, just a
Okay.
little.
Probably very little.
Okay. let's just talk
Not
about
much I can say.
Yeah. Let's talk about when you just first heard of it. When you first heard they're bringing back Karate Kid in a YouTube series back in 2018. What was your first thought of that?
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I was excited. I thought that it's an audacious and ambitious undertaking. That it definitely had the potential to not be a success. And as soon as I saw it, it was evident that it was an unmitigated success. And, I think an enormous factor in that is the incredible talent of the big three. Their writing is fantastic. And, Ralph and Billy and now Marty and Thomas have done an exceptional job. Yuji's done an exceptional job. And I just think that it's so incredible because they've done something really difficult and interesting. They have managed to appeal to guys my age who love the show for its nostalgic value because, I grew up during the time of Karate Kid. I grew up during the 80s. That's my time. And they've also managed to appeal to kids your age who weren't around with the younger set of the actors, and then intermesh the two so that it tells an interesting story that appeals to both groups. And that's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So I have two more questions for you. One last thing, two more things. What do you think Mike Barnes has been doing the last 30 years? So after Karate Kid Part 3, since you've played as the character, you probably know him best. What do you think Mike Barnes has been doing in the spare time?
It's a really tough one. I think that Mike Barnes went one of two directions. He either continued to get worse and probably wound up in prison.
Yeah.
Probably New Dutch. And if that wasn't the case, I like to think maybe he went into the military or something and got straightened out and learned about discipline and honor and all of that stuff. And, became a good man. And I don't know. I don't know. I guess we're all going to have to wait and see and hope at some point that will be revealed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So last question. People love Mike Barnes all across the world. People want to see him return with Cobra Kai. Everyone loves Mike Barnes. I'm curious, why do you think, in your opinion, that people love Mike Barnes so much?
That's a tough question. I think there's some different reasons. I think one reason is that there was a group of fans that rooted for the Cobra Kai. They rooted against Daniel. And if you're going to root against Daniel, Johnny, who was a ferocious competitor, wasn't really a bad guy.
Yeah.
Mike Barnes, bad guy. And so if you want somebody that is going to inflict the most pain and challenge to the other side, Barnes was the guy to do it. He was just so over the top. I think that's one of the reasons why. I just think that he was mental. I think people maybe appeal to them. The scene where he comes in and seems like a relatively normal, nice guy negotiating with Terry Silver, and even a little bit, even oddly a little humble. When he says, "Well, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out," and then you see this psychopath. And I think that there was it had an interesting polarity to it. That's my guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, for me, the reason why I love the character so much, it's just so organic. It's just so entertaining to watch. And you really brought the character to life. I can't imagine anyone else playing Mike Barnes besides you. So congratulations on all your work, and I hope to see you in season 5. So.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I want to wish you all the best, and thanks to all your fans, and I hope you get the chance to do this again. And if you'd like to get my book, Way of the Cobra, if you'd like a signed copy, please go to wayofthecobra.com. Happy to sign it for you. And if not, you can get it on Amazon or the ebook on Kindle. And keep an eye out later this year for Way of the Cobra 2. Welcome to the Kumite.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Buddy. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. Well, there it was. I interviewed Sean Kanan. All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you, Sean Kanan, for watching this. And thank you for all the fans. This is a really highlight of my career in general. So thank you guys for watching. And always remember, guys, extreme situations require extreme measures. Peace.
Cobra Kai Karate.